Good morning to each and everyone present over here. Today, me and my group are here to give a presentation on the topic Corporate Accounting Scandal and Satyam Computer Services Limited, a case study of India's Enron. To start with, here are our key elements that we are going to cover that are history of Satyam Computer Services, emergence of Satyam Computer Services, uh, continuing with Satyam timeline, scandal, role of auditors, aftermath of Satyam scandal, affected persons, and conclusion. I will be handling the first slide that is history. To continue with introduction, Satyam Computer Services was founded in year 1987 and by 2008 revenue had an over of 2 billion US dollars. Later, it converted into public limited company in 1992. Founder of Satyam Computer, that was none another than Mr. Ramalinga Raju, who was born on September 16, 1954, and had a traditional family background of Kshatriya community of Andhra Pradesh. He founded Satyam Computers and was its chairman until January 7, 2009, when he resigned the post from it and Satyam board after admitting the corporate fraudulent that was a scam. Our third point is India's Enron. The case of Satyam's accounting fraud has been dubbed in India's Enron in order to evaluate and understand the severity of Satyam's fraud. And it is important to understand factors that contributed along to the unethical decisions made by the company's executives. Therefore, it is necessary to give the detailed study about the rise of Satyam that will be continued after, and that the competitor within the global IT sectors and services marketplace. Our fourth point is companies offers consulting and IT professional services. It has been spanning various sectors as Mahindra Satyam is ranked as 153 by Fortune India 500 in 2011, employing 52,000 IT professionals across the world. That is from being India's IT, as it has been awarded as crown jewel and country's fourth largest company with high profile customers. Now, networking areas covering all the networks around 66 countries, 53,000 employees, and across the six continents. Now, the next slide will be continued by Neha. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Priya. Now, I would like to highlight the emergence of Satyam Computer Services. Satyam Computer Service Limited was once known as the rising star of India, and which was formed in the year of 1987 by Mr. Ramalinga Raju, who was the founder and chairman of the Satyam Computers. He started the Satyam Computers with 20 employees and grew rapidly as a global business which offered IT services and business outsourcing services at various levels. By 2003, the Computers IT services included the 13,120 technical associates with servicing over 300 customers worldwide. And at that time, the IT services market was estimated around 400 billion US dollar with an annual growth rate of 6.4% at that time. And the IT market was also increased the importance to the business worldwide. Uh, Now in the company boomed and developed through the period of 2003 to 2008, and by the end of the March, the uh, company sales was increased. Company sales was increased to around 467 million dollar, with an annual growth rate of 35% over that period. And in the same year of 2008, the company's earning per share was also grew from 0.12 US dollar to 0.62 US dollar, and which with an annual growth rate of 40%. A higher earning per share indicate higher value because the investors will pay more if they think that the company has a higher profit relating to its share price. Now let's coming to the awards and achievement. Satyam Computers won numerous awards for innovation, governance, and corporate accountability. So let's come to the first one. In the year of 2007, Mr. Ramalinga Raju was awarded by the Ernst and Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And second, in the year of 2008, Satyam awarded from MZ Consults for being leader in India in good corporate accountability. And in the same year, in September 2008, World Council of Corporate Governance awarded the Satyam uh, for the uh, for the Golden Peacock Award for Global Excellence in Corporate Accountability. Next slide, please. Now let's come to the Satyam's timelines. So in the year of 1991, the Satyam Computers was first listed in the Indian Stock Exchange, which is Bombay Stock Exchange, with an IPO which was oversubscribed for 17 times. Then in the year of 2001, the Satyam Computers was listed in the New York Stock Exchange, where the company's revenue was crosses to 1 billion US dollar, and this revenue crosses to 2 billion US dollar in the year of 2008. Now, in December 23rd, the World Bank banned the Satyam Computers from conducting its business for a period of 8 years due to the inappropriate payments made to the staff and inability to show the information short on the invoices. And then in December 26th, Mr. Mangalam Srinivasan, who was the independent director of the Satyam Computers, was resigned from the company uh, by following the World Bank critical statement. And then in December 28th, three more directors of the Satyam Computers also resigned from the company by following the World Bank critical statement. Now I would like to call upon on Anuj to explain further. Over to you, Anuj.
Uh, Thank you, Neha. I'm here to explain about the scandal part. First is the fraud. Mr. Raju disclosed a letter as shown in Exhibit 2 to Satyam Computers Limited Board of Directors that he had been manipulating the company's accounting number. For years, uh, Mr. Raju created a numerous bank statement to advance the fraud, and he falsified the bank account to inflate the balance sheet with balance that did not exist. He inflated the income statement by claiming that interest income from the false bank account. Mr. Raju also revealed that he had created 6,000 fake salary accounts for the last few years. Global Head of Internal Audit, Mr. Raju created a fake customer identities and generated fake invoice against their names to inflate the revenue. The illegally obtained for the company and cash that the company raised through American depository receipts in United States never made it to in the balance sheet. The second gap, the gap part. The marginal gap between the actual profit and the one reflected in the books of accounts continued to grow over the years. It lies attained unmanageable proportion as the size of company operating grew significantly. The difference in the real profit and the one reflected on the books further highlighted by the fact that the company had to carry additional resources and assets to justify. Every attempt made to eliminate every attempt made to eliminate the gap failed, and the promoter of a company held a small percentage of equity. The concern was the poor performance would result in takeover there by exposing the gap. Third, violating duties. The Satyam scandal is classic case of negligence and fiduciary duties, total collapse of ethical standards, and lack of corporate social responsibilities. It's a human greed and desire to let the fraud and still driving forces. The driving forces will lead the Satyam computer to fall in a such a way that it cannot perform other functions in order to fulfill the greed, interference competition to meet moral standards by top management and greater emphasis on people behind the scam. Faces was the first is Ramalinga Raju, Satyam former chairman, B. Ramaraju, brother of Ramalinga Raju, former Managing Director, V. Srinivas, ex-Chief Financial Officer, S. Gopal Krishnan, Pricewaterhouse Auditor, and the last is Taluri Srinivas, Pricewaterhouse Auditors. Now, I would like to, Neha, over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Anuj. My topic is the Mehta's acquisition. Mr. Ramalingan Raju has fully owned subsidiary of rupees $1.6 billion without shareholder approval. Director went with the management decision. The decision of acquisition was reserved 12 hours after investors sold Satyam stocks and threatened action against the management. Second point is Mr. Raju planned to buy the Mehta's infrastructure and Mehta's properties to fill the gap of the balance sheet but of Satyam Private Limited, but this plan doesn't work. Third point is last attempt. The Mehta's acquisition deal with the last attempt to fill the fictitious asset with the real one. Mehta's investors are convinced that this was a good opportunity and strategy, but this plan was also not worked. Acquisition of the firm Poor Corporate Governance. Poor corporate governance. The Satyam scam has been the example of poor corporate governance practice. It has failed to show the good relationship between shareholder and employee. Corporate governance issued to Satyam arose because of non-fulfillment of obligation of the companies toward the various stakeholders. Next slide, please. How the scam came out. According to the Investor Protection and Redressal Forum, investment bank DSP Merrill Lynch, which was appointed by Satyam to look for the partner or the buyer, ultimately below the whistle and terminated its engagement with the company soon after it found the financial irregularities. And this is how the acquisition of has been aborted. Second point is Raju confession on 7 Jan 2009. The balance sheet are carried. Inflated cash and bank balance of rupees 5,361 crore as against to rupees 321 crore. And accrued interest of rupees 376.5 crore which was not exist. Understand Understated liabilities of rupees 1,230 crores and the overstated debtors position of rupees 2,651 as against to the 2,161 crore. For the September quarter reported to the revenue of rupees 2,700 crore and the operating margin of rupees 649 crores. There was increase in 24% of revenue as against the actual revenue of rupees 2,112 crore and the actual operating margin of rupees 61 crore, 3% of revenue. This was resulted in the artificial cash bank balance going up to the rupees 588 crore in quarter second loan. Next slide, please. Now, my friend Soumya will explain the further detail.
Thank you, Jyoti. Now I will discuss about the auditor role and factor contributing to fraud. So, firstly, the auditor are the person examined to the books of account and the account of the company registered under the Companies Act to the report and of them the company's shareholder. The role of auditor, in light of Satyam scheme, that the fraud was not committed overnight, it was light up of continuously over year. The role of Satyam author under the scanner of ignored some of the obvious indicator of the embezzlement and thus failed to catch on the some massive. The price of water copper PwC by the Satyam book of the June 2000 until the discovery of the fraud in 2009. PwC audited the company for nearly 9 years and did not uncover the fraud, whereas eventually discovered the fraud as a part of the due to the deadline merely in 10 days. Investor become wary of those company who were the clients of the PwC. The Indian authorities also arrested changed several of the company auditor PwC of fraud. Now, last point is PwC come under the investor security and license to be operate was revoked. This is a my side. I over to you, Ayush. Continue the topic.
So much, Soumya. Now I will tell you about aftermath of Satyam scandal.
Yes, Ayush. You're not audible. आयुष आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Hello.
हाँ,
Sir, am I
now you
audible
are
now?
audible. Now you are audible.
Thank you so much, sir. Aftermath scandal, fall from grace. As the news spread of the fraud, Merrill Lynch terminated its engagement with Satyam, added its coverage of Satyam, and PricewaterhouseCoopers were scrutinized and their operations have been revoked by suspending their license. Downfall in the shares has been seen as we can see in Exhibit 3, that is, shares fell to 11.5 rupees on January 10, 2009 from a high of 544 rupees in 2008. In New York Stock Exchange also, Satyam shares peaked in 2008 at 29.10 US dollars and after fell down came to 1.80 US dollars. $2.82 billion was lost by investors. Criminal charges brought against Mr. Raju, including criminal conspiracy, breach of trust, and forgery. As PwC broke the trust of the investors, investors pulled out their money from companies which are client of PricewaterhouseCoopers. Around 10 companies' share fell down from 5 to 15%. Sensex also fell more than 5%. Work towards solution and appointment of new board members. As Mr. Raju revealed about the fraud done by him, new board members were appointed and they prevented the firm from total collapse. Officials tried to save the company and they don't want to dissolve the company as done in Enron case resulted in the biggest bankruptcy. Government was using backdoor to investigate as they don't want to be a part of scandal in the view of public. To save the company, government appointed new board of directors and their goal was to sell the company within 100 days. Different lawyers, bankers, accountants, and officials were in touch of members. It brings the stability and confidence back to the company to sell it within 100 days. Goldman Sachs and Avendus Capitals were appointed to accomplish the sale in shortest time. Many major players in IT field are confident in Satyam operations and went to buy it in auction process. Justice Bharucha, who was retired judge of Supreme Court, was appointed to check the transparency of process. The winning bidder was Tech Mahindra, bought Satyam for $1.13 per share, less than one third of its stock market value before Mr. Raju revealed the fraud. The stock of Satyam again stabilized from its fall on November 26, 2009 as part of Tech Mahindra. Now my friend Vanna will continue.
Thank you, Ayush. Next slide, please. Now I am going to discuss about the people that affected by Satyam fraud. Stakeholder is important in any organization, and when Satyam fraud got revealed, many main victims, according to Manu Aran in 2011, were their stakeholders. Employees of Satyam spent any anxious movement and sleepless night as they faced non-payment of salary, project cancellation, and equally bleak prospect of outside employment of opportunity. They were stranded in many ways morally, financially, legally, and socially. Clients. Clients of Satyam expressed loss of trust and reviewed their contract, preferring to go with other competitors. Several global clients like Cisco, Telstra, and World Bank cancelled their contract. Customers were shocked and worried about the project continuity, confidentiality, and cost overrun. Shareholder lost their valuable investment, and there was doubt about revival of India and preferred investment destination.
The VC and MD at Mahindra in a statement said that the development had resulted in incalculable and unjustifiable damage to brand India and brand IT in particular. Bankers they were concerned about recovery of financial and non-financial exposure and recall facility of companies. Indian government also worried about its image of nation and IT sector affecting whether to invest or to do business in the country. So we can see Satyam fraud affected many stakeholders at any some level. Next slide, please. Now this slide continue with Neha. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Banna. Now I would like to conclude as shown in the slide. So first, during the scandal, the dec- promoters were gradually decreasing their stake from their own company year after year. As given in the table 5 that promoters stake in the year of 2001 was 25.6%, which fall down to less than 3% in the year of 2008. So if the investors will carefully look at the shareholding pattern of the company, which was decreasing year after year, so they might be able to realize that something terrible was done inside the company. Second, ironically, Satyam is one of the few Indian company to have a whistleblower policy in place since 2005. So basically, it's a mechanism for uh, employees to report the concerns about the unethical behavior, actual or suspected fraud or violations directly to the audit committee of the board. But in this case, this policy was not affected because none of the employees taken the steps to blow the whistle and disclose this fraud that was committed in the company to the audit committee of the board. Third one is the PricewaterhouseCoopers was the auditing firm of the Satyam company, which was audited the financial statements and signed the financial statements of the company, who were not who also responsible for the fraud which was committed in the company because they audited the financial statement of the company from the year of 2001 until the discovery of fraud. And the fourth, periodic reports. So there was a lack of commitment on the part of independent directors because they were not perform their responsibility effectively, as they did not periodically review the legal compliance report of the company, and instead of acted independently and below the whistle and disclose the fraud, they were also acted collectively with the persons who did this fraud in the company. So that's all from our side. Thank you.